Welcome to Christianity for Christians. I'm your brother in the Lord, Brother Dan. It's August 16th, 2025. Still hot up here in Connecticut, I'll tell you that. Alright, so I want to give some final thoughts on my previous video, Holy Matrimony. There's just so much here, I didn't really cover everything like I would have liked to. So, without further ado, let's take a quick look at this, and please leave a comment. Would be nice. I have no comments. I have, let's see, I have 2 subscribers, I think, on YouTube, and on X over there, I have 9 followers. Wow. I think there was like thousands of impressions, or views, but 9 followers, and half those followers I think are questionable. Like, who are these young girls that, just joined and they're dressed seductively? I don't know. It's crazy. All right. So anyways, Exodus 22, verse 16. And so let me give you a quick little summary. So what's going on here is Moses is addressing a what if, a hypothetical, because the Jews had a very orderly custom and traditions concerning marriage. You had a father who had daughters and a father who had sons, and they would arrange marriages between each other. Okay, very serious. I mean, they were very serious about it, and it was very orderly. But what if you have a young guy and a girl, they get together, they have a relationship outside of the betrothal, outside of the custom and traditions, and it's an intimate relationship, right? In other words, they're having sex. What happens then? How do you deal with this? So Moses addresses this issue in Exodus 22, verses 16 and 17. So let me read that. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Now the word endow, the translation is to bargain for. So who's he going to bargain with? Well, that would be the girl's father. Okay? And then in verse 17 it says, if her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. Now that, I don't know how much money it would be. That was probably negotiated. But what's interesting here is that Moses is introducing that if they have this relationship, let the boy or the young man bargain for her. Let him because now she's no longer a virgin, and according to the Word of God, she's been humbled, been brought into submission, and they're really husband and wife, and that's what God says in the Bible, and that's clearly what God told Moses. But Moses, in respect, and you got to understand, he's trying to lead these people, and there's a lot of resistance. They really didn't care. I mean, you remember the golden calf when Moses came down with the tablets, that when God wrote the 10 Commandments. I mean, what were they doing, right? So there's a lot of resistance here with the children of Israel. And so what Moses is saying, well, if the father utterly refused, and the word utter communicates that hard heart. He's adamant. No, you are not going to take my daughter to be your wife. She's my daughter. I decide who her husband is going to be. Well, in this case, she pretty much can't marry anyone now because she's already given herself. She's had this relationship. And so he gives the father authority to not allow them to be married. And I think it's obvious that this didn't set well with Moses, because I think what Moses is trying to do is he's introducing something in respect of the custom and traditions. And I think what he's hoping for is that the men of Israel would be reasonable. Let's just work it out. They're married now. Come on. But if you have a hard heart here, he's like, okay, don't want to stir up too much trouble kind of thing, right? The father can utterly refuse the marriage. But you see, this is where it's in this that I see the hand of God in Moses' life, because he's He's trying to reason with the children of Israel, but God, the Lord, is adamant. No, they're married. And so Moses had to amend Exodus chapter 22, verse 16 and 17. And we find this amendment here in Deuteronomy 22, 28 and 29. Deuteronomy, which is considered the second law. So Moses had to amend this. And this is beautiful. He says, if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, not engaged to be married, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. So now there's a set price. And she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. The word humbled, translation, brought into submission. He may not put her away all his days. In other words, they're married. That's it. This is final. And so what's happening here is he's amending this exemption for the father. This is amended. No, you can't utterly refuse. Now, where the contention comes in, what you'll find with a lot of Bible scholars and pastors. I mean, if you search Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 9, just like on YouTube or any social media, you are going to find a lot of misinterpretations, because in verse 28 here, the word hold is translated in Hebrew tafas. Now tafas, the definition of tafas is to seize or take something unwarranted, but it also can be translated rape. So a lot of scholars would read this, that if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and rape her, and in fact, if you look in some translations, it'll actually say rape. Now, thankfully, I have a King James version of the Bible, and it says hold. Okay, and in this case, what Moses is communicating is that in this relationship, yes, he has seized her, he has taken her from her father. Okay, it's actually he's seizing something from the girl's father. And what's interesting, it says, and if they be found, you see, because they don't want to be found. So it's like a young lovers. They want to have their relationship, and they're bucking the system here. All right. And so what Moses is doing is essentially, like I said, he's amending Exodus 22, 16 and 17. And so the penalty here is a set price, 50 shekels of silver, and their husband and wife. You understand? Because because when you have an intimate relationship, God says you're married. And that's what Moses knew. That's what God communicated to Moses. You see? So it's pretty simple. And I think when you really think about it, doesn't that register true in your heart? Really? Because outside of that, what do we have? Debauchery, right? Sexual immorality. That's what we have. So God is setting a standard here through Moses. And what I find beautiful about this is, see, even back then, the Jews had their own customs and tradition. And Moses is essentially saying, regardless of your customs and traditions, a man and a woman are married when they have a relationship. And I would argue this, I would say, for all you young people, be very careful in your selection. Girls, that boyfriend of yours, you sure? Because once you take it to the bedroom, you're husband and wife. And fellas, there is no breaking up after that. Okay? That's what God says here through Moses. And that's exactly what Jesus taught in the Gospels. And the Apostle Paul, that's exactly what he teaches. So anyways, Hope that's helpful. And most of all, I hope that's interesting. You know, so I want to conclude as much as possible here the whole marriage thing, because I got a lot of stuff I like to teach, a lot of other subjects that I studied over the years that are interesting to me, and I hope they're also interesting to you. Okay.